Love is our true divine nature, and our heart serves as the intersection of the spiritual and physical, connecting our soul with our body as the conduit for anchoring our divinity onto the earth plane. Embodying our divinity is the key to our ascension and to manifesting our highest destiny in this life. The teachings of the heart are alchemy. Join spiritual mentor and channel Jennifer Spohr each week on a sacred journey to lift the veil to remembering your divinity and meet other beautiful souls who are living the path of the awakened heart. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the show. It is my pleasure to welcome here as a guest today, Don St. John. He is a psychotherapist, author, and a teacher in a Christian-Ayahuasca church. I'm really excited to learn more about the work that you're doing. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm delighted to be here. Looking forward to our conversation.
Yes, absolutely. I I have to confess, I have not heard of the combination of teaching in regard to um, Christianity and ayahuasca. I would love for you to tell us more about what you do. I find that fascinating.
You're referring to my church, and
Yes.
it originated in Brazil in 1961. In 2006, we received a unanimous United States Supreme Court victory, giving us the right and the license to partake of our sacrament, ayahuasca, within the context of our services. Uh, and it's a family-oriented, basically heart-opening path that's rather unique because that combination of both studying the teachings of Jesus on one hand and consuming ayahuasca that's considered, in the country as a psychedelic on the other hand is unique. And one of the things that, well, two things that come to mind. One is that it was very, very supportive of our marriage. Relationships were challenging for me in my youth, but now I've been married for 40 years, and I have to say, it's a really, really good, wholesome, vibrant marriage. And both of us are in our 80s. And, I attribute some of that to the support that we received by participating for the past 29 years in this church. The other thing is that it's just been heart opening. It just feels easier to love. I see that brought a smile to your face. I
Yeah,
like
I
that.
love that. Yes, easy to love.
Easier, yes.
Yes. Yes. I would love, no pun intended, that's the first word that wanted to come out, to
Yeah.
ask you, um, I believe, in regard to the divine truth of love and what it is, that in its truest sense, it is easy. Um, I know many, and I've been in this place on my ascension journey as well. I know many people find it difficult to open their hearts to love, and that
Mhm.
many have a misidentified and misapplied relationship with love, what it means to love. I would love for you to share with us your thoughts on that, because there is so much going on in the world, right? And as humans, the human part of us, we tend to want to close off to protect ourselves versus opening up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And I think, there's a lot in what you just said. We can look at the world and see a kind of fundamental misguidance, a fundamental lack of comprehension about what we're really here to do. And for me, it's all about relationship, relationship beginning to ourselves, to
Mhm.
each other, to nature, to the divine. Uh, but love begins at the very, very beginning of our life. We're geared to love. If we receive a warm welcoming, and if we're blessed to have a lot of affection and care and mature, loving parents, which is fairly rare to have that whole combination. So many people were born into an environment characterized by conflict, distress, serious money issues. I can go on and on. It would take the entire 30 minutes to catalog the various types of distress that people encounter, and they get associated with love. So for example, the question that gets formulated in a very, very small child's mind is, am I safe in love? Am I going to be rejected? Do they turn away from me? Or on the other hand, will I be suffocated by love? Okay. No, if I love you, are you going to take away my freedom, my autonomy? Because that's what I felt for 10 years growing up,
Mhm.
Or are you going to hurt me in one way or another? So we shut down, we erect barriers, and we we create personas to get through life and navigate this world, yearning for that we're terrified of really opening to. I can tell you a story, Jennifer, that, well, how it happened for me. I had a very seriously traumatic childhood. I mean, it was like over the top trauma beginning at birth. I almost died. And as I half jokingly say, it got worse from there. Uh, but and I was having a whole lot of trouble, marriage, divorce. And in 1976, I was attending a conference, a residential live-in conference with a spiritual teacher. And the topic was living from love, living what he referred to as the fourth chakra, the heart chakra, and I knew nothing about it at the time. I was 33 years old, I believe, in 1976. And I was there 2 days when I got a call from my wife, who said she had to talk to me. So she drove 2.5 hours to come and talk to me, to tell me that she wanted an open marriage. And oh, by the way, she had already begun while I was at this conference. Well, I said, you got anything else to say? She said, no. I said, goodbye. But I went crazy. For the next day, I was like bouncing off the walls with rage and pain. And the next morning, the conference leader came in and said, okay, today we have to let go of the emotional level of existence and start functioning at the heart level. And if you don't think you can do it, please let me know by by our evening session, I'll give you your money back and go home. And I went even crazier because how in the name of God could anyone in that situation let go of the emotional level? And I was really in pain, angry, enraged, in conflict. I wanted to stay, but how could I? It was impossible. And then, just before that evening session where I had to make the decision, my heart just, it seemed as if it burst open. All of a sudden, I was feeling love, not for anyone in particular, not for anything in particular. It was just this fullness, this sense, this warmth, this hard to believe feeling of love. Then I was ecstatic. I didn't know, I didn't understand what was happening. All I knew was that that was happening. Now, that didn't mean that the pain and the rage completely left. They'd come, but they'd come as waves, and they'd come in this different context where I didn't feel victimized by what had happened. I felt somehow like something turned and I was going down a new path and it was all going to be all right. And
Mhm.
that was a brand new feeling for somebody who had gone through, the level of abuse and trauma that I had gone through as a kid. And the process continues to this day, some, what, 47 years later, to live in love. So that's that story. I hope it wasn't too long.
That's really beautiful. I relationships are some of the greatest teachers, right? The greatest opportunities for uh learning and healing and remembering who we are on our journey. Um in my
Absolutely.
yeah, in my experience, because you have been married for so long, and obviously we experience so many peaks and valleys and different things on our path. What would your advice be for someone who is committed to their spiritual path, right, and to committed to their growth, to navigate their marriage, their relationship, or any close relationship as they're experiencing all those changes, because we're always changing, right?
Yes. Oh, that's a huge, big question.
Yes.
What's my advice to people on the path? Well, okay. Practice speaking from the heart.
Mhm.
Get to know what that means. And I can say that I was once asked to do that as part of an exercise in a training that I was in, a workshop type environment. I hadn't the vaguest, Jennifer, I didn't know what that meant. I really didn't. I just spoke how I spoke. I could hear it when other people were speaking and say, yeah, he or he's speaking from the heart right now. But I didn't know how to get there. And so, if you're committed to that process of spiritual growth, my advice is to leave no stone unturned to awaken the heart. Do what it takes and recognize that the way I frame it, Jennifer, is that there are four pillars that we need to be paying attention to. The first is the body. We can't negate or neglect the body. And by the body, I am talking more about our internal connection to our body. Okay. Our psychology, obviously, the beliefs that we have, if, for example, I believe that if I love you, you're going to take away my freedom, that I can't love without losing, or I can't love without being hurt. You know, those are two biggies, and they're variations of those. But you know, if I love you, you're going to leave and hurt me. You're going to criticize me and judge me and hurt me, or you're going to cling and you're going to be all over me or try and dominate me, and I lose my autonomy. If I'm carrying those as, when I say beliefs, they're more like the operating system of our computer. They're what's running the show. And we have to bring them to the light and see them and recognize how they play in the choices that we make. Okay. And we have to challenge them. And that's scary, you know. Okay, I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to love you. But it's scary. And so, you know, if we can acknowledge, allow, accept, embrace, and express that to another, you know, wow, we're getting really close and I'm getting scared. Yeah.
Mhm.
But then we deepen and we have an experience of loving without being hurt or suffocated. You see, and then we take another risk, and you know, it's like that. We have to learn how to do that. That's the relational pillar. We have to really evolve skills and capacities to open ourselves, to be vulnerable and to be strong and vulnerable, you know, to embrace the masculine and the feminine,
Mhm.
right? And the spiritual dimension, whatever spiritual path one is on, that you know connects us beyond you and me, connects us to the web of life, to the divine, to whatever you know, however you hold that. So that's my advice.
So beautiful. So much wisdom. Thank you for sharing that. It is something that I know a lot of people can relate to. And it's really, really important. Don, in closing, I would love for you to just share with us whatever you're feeling guided to bring forward.
Okay. Um, I think, you know, we grow up, we're all part of a culture that has idolized the rational mind. You know, we consider that the supreme knower,
Mhm.
our ability to think, you know, to our logical capacities. And I think it is critical, essential that we discover the heart. I think we have to place the heart in its proper place. And the heart exists at the center. You know? If you look at a human body, there's a way in which the heart is the center point between or among the head, okay, which is above, the arms to the side, the muscles of the arms go right over the heart in the center of the chest. And the legs, believe it or not, the legs, because the primary muscle that lifts the thigh, starts right under the heart, right under the diaphragm. The heart sits on the diaphragm. These two muscles, one on either side of the spine, come from the inside of the femur, the thigh muscle, and go across the pelvis and all the way up underneath the diaphragm. And so you can think of the heart, and there's a whole lot of research now showing how the heart interacts with the brain, right? And how, when the heart is on board, when it's activated, when it's open, when we learn to not come from reactivity, from distress, from fear, from worry, from resentment, when we learn to be able to let those go as fast as possible and return to an open presence, the heart is in tune with the most advanced part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex. And, we make wiser choices, wiser interpretations of events. Okay. And the heart to the arms and hands, and the heart to the feet, it's like we touch the world with love. We step on the earth with love as our legs, connects all the way to the heart. So it's right there in the center as this. It's the strongest electromagnetic organ in the body, influencing people several feet away, measurable. The heart's influence can be measured on the other person's brain and the other person's heart. I'll refer you to the heart map studies. Okay? And, get to know it, get to know your heart, heal the wounds, risk, take chances. Take chances to open up just a little bit more.
Yeah, consistency and being committed to do that is so important.
Absolutely. Yes, it is. And, we have setbacks, we have plateaus, uh, we have periods of, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't know. Tolerate those periods. Keep walking. Stay committed, even if, you feel like all of a sudden you've been at it for 20 years and you don't know anything. And the last suggestion I have is read my book, Healing the Wounds of Childhood and Culture, an adventure of a lifetime. And it is an adventure of a lifetime, believe me. Believe me, I wanted to be a prize fighter when I was a child. I considered the mafia, it was in the neighborhood. And somehow I end up a PhD teaching intimacy and love, relationships, fluid movement. How'd that happen? How did that happen? And once you embark, once you commit, there'll be forces there supporting you. Like whatever it was that opened my heart that in that workshop in 1976, while my wife at that time, no longer my wife, but at that time, she was with another guy while I was in this workshop.
I love the perspective that you bring, and thankfully you did end up doing this work. You did end up where you are now. I
Yeah,
really believe that nothing happens at random for us. I mean, this life is filled with beautiful synchronicities, and some of them we don't understand at the time, and we're not meant to know everything, right? That's that part of us that believes that in order to feel safe, that it has to know. And it really, feeling safe and feeling love really lies in how closely we're connected with ourselves, with others, and with God.
absolutely. And we don't know how we're going to get from here to there.
Yeah.
We have no idea. But again, I'm 80 years old and I'm here. So I'm not too concerned about it anymore. It's like,
No.
but it's looking back and seeing the hand, somebody up there likes me. I mean, I can tell you other stories of near miracles.
Yeah, well, there are so many miracles. I mean, really so many, and that's part of it too, right? Is that we have this amazing gift of free will to choose our perspective, to choose how we respond, to choose how we navigate our path. And we can be scared about it and fear it, or we can choose to reframe it as something that we can be curious about and excited about.
That's that in and of itself, right there, just what you said, is a very important shift. It's a marker. When that shift happens, it's a different ball game.
Mhm.
It's completely different. The same things might be happening. You still might be struggling in that marriage. But if you've made the shift that you just described, Jennifer, it's a
Mhm.
completely different experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Dawn, for those who want to connect with you further, where is the best place for them to go?
I think my website,
Mhm.
www.pathsofconnection.com. Should I spell that? Pathsofconnection.com.
Yeah, we'll have it in the show notes, but it would be great if you could spell it just for those who are just listening audibly.
Sure. PATHSONNECTION.com. Pathsofconnection.com.
Thank you so much, Dawn. And this conversation was inspiring and definitely brightened my day. And I'm excited to share it with our audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jennifer. I had a great time talking to you.
Thank you for listening to Path of the Awakened Heart. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts or pathoftheawakenedheart.com so you never miss an episode. To learn more about living with an awakened heart and navigating your ascension journey, visit me at jenniferspore.com.